Hey everyone, it's Suey here, and today is a wrap-up video talking about books I finished in September and books I plan to read in October. Cannot believe it is already October. Crazy how fast the year flies by. Really, truly crazy. Okay, let me tell you about what I read this month. I did a little vlog video a couple weeks ago and talked about a whole bunch of books I was kind of in the middle of. So let's see which ones actually got finished. I did manage to get to quite a few banned or challenged books. I was successful in that little endeavor. First one, I got this book, Crank by Ellen Hopkins. Bought it at the bookstore when they were having that crazy sale, even though I ended up not using the sale for this book, just bought it. And this is the first one of a series. There's several more books that come after this one. Told in verse, so it was real fast and easy reading because there's not very many words to the page. So it's about this girl, her mom and dad are divorced, and she goes to visit her father. While she's there, she meets a guy who gives her drugs. She thinks of it as kind of changing her personality, so she thinks of herself as a different person while she's with him, and then when she comes back to her own home and school and everything, she lets that different personality come out in many instances, and she gets herself in a lot of crazy situations. The drug takes over her life. She gets mixed up with some guys that aren't awesome at all. Yeah, it's a sad story. I won't tell all the stuff that happens, but it's pretty much all the bad things. It's just sad and depressing knowing that this is pretty much based on what happened to the daughter of our author here. And probably what happens to a lot of people, actually. I've seen this book everywhere. This one and a lot of the ones in the series are on a lot of lists. So now I know kind of what's going on with it. And then I reread Eleanor and Park for book club. This one is also on a lot of banned and challenged book lists, and I don't really know why, because the stuff in here is really not any worse than anything you read in pretty much any other young adult book these days. The premise of this one is that our girl is in a family where the dad is very, very abusive. It turns out that he's kind of had his eye on her, and some of the stuff we learn about that he's thinking and whatever is pretty harsh. But I feel like this one actually is not a depressing one like the other one is. It's much more hopeful and inspiring and uplifting, and Eleanor's a strong kid. The romance between Eleanor and Park is very sweet and a loving one. They're friends. They're nerdy. They bond with a lot of things, and I love that the time period is 1986. It's just one of my favorite books because I just find it to be extremely heartwarming and happy, even despite the sadness of the house and home that Eleanor is being raised in. Those two books, each one of them only took me a couple days each to read. Well, this book took me all month long to read. I had it on the ebook first of all, and then it had to go back to the library. So then I ran to the library, checked out this actual copy. Feels like this is a brand new book. It's so weird holding a brand new paperback from the library. And then it still took me another week to finish it. So this one basically was my month-long read. It is the second book in the Darker Shades of Magic series and is called The Gathering of Shadows, where we meet up with Lila and Cale again, and also Cale's brother Rye. Is that how you say his name? I don't know. Rye, yeah. I'm going to say Rye. It's from those three, they're all three of their points of view, and there's a tournament of magicians, and both Cale and Lila end up in this tournament. And it's crazy and so fascinating, and her writing is beautiful, and I want to write like her so bad. This is the style of writing I wish I could figure out. The frustrating thing about this one for me is that Cale and Lila were not together like through the whole book. They were separated with all the stuff that was going on until the very, very end, and then it was just like this only fleeting moment. So I wish there was more interaction between our two main characters. Anyway, now that I've got this one read, I can go right on to the third book, which is on my shelf somewhere over there. Conjuring of Light. The third one in the series, also huge and fat, so it'll probably take me forever. But I have to decide if I need to give it any time or if I'm just going to go straight into it. What else did I read? Oh, I read on my Kindle The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, which is a method of positive thinking and changing your life by getting up a little bit earlier in the morning and going through 6 steps: meditation, affirmations, visualization, visualizations, exercising, reading, and writing, journaling, basically. Do those 6 things, give like 5 minutes to all those things, or 10 minutes, or whatever, however much time you have, and you're going to change your life. So, I don't know. I think I might try it. I am wary of the whole thing, but the idea is very, very intriguing. And I would like to see what happens if I did. A lot of people say that it's amazing and it makes you feel so much better about your life. And my issue is that I would love to stop thinking so negatively and just change my thinking to be more positive. If I could only just do that one thing, that would be awesome. So we'll see. So I did finish that one real fast too, because it was due back to the library. Those 3 books I read in just a couple days. This one took me a month. And then I just now, last night, finished this one. So, and it only took me a couple days too, because it's just a really short YA, I guess. You guess it's a YA. It's on the list we've all been talking about. The infamous Utah list that just happened a few months ago. I get this book mixed up with another one, so I always forget if I've read it or not. Well, when I've read it, I remembered I had not read this one. It's not one. So this was the first go around for me. So I feel like we always talk about banned books and how we want to pump them up and counterbalance the whole banned books thing and talk well about banned books. But then I decided I don't have to like the banned books that I read. And I did not like this one at all. So I can see why people have issues with it. It's pretty blatantly sexual. And I particularly didn't like it because I felt like it was so clinical and so unemotional. Like it almost felt like a handbook of sorts. Or a how-to book, or a manual, maybe you could say. The love story between the 2 people, there's like not really a love story. It's mostly like, oh, hi, I like you too, okay, let's have sex. There's no story. There's no emotion put in to this story at all. It's just so dry and clinical. So yeah, I did not like this one, and it makes me depressed and sad. I'm trying to think if there was just a little bit more love mixed in with all of this, would I have liked it better? Maybe. I mean, I like lots of YA books that have both elements. I feel like it would have been so much more palatable, is that the word, if you had some happiness throughout it. So that's my feeling on that one, and I decided it's okay if I read a banned book and I don't like it. But that's not to say that I think it should be banned or anything, you know what I mean? All right, so those are my 5 books, right? 5 books. 4 that I read real fast. Each of them took me a couple days, and then my long Gathering of Shadows book. But I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I love that writing style, and I love the world she's created. Plans for October. When I went and got that book, The Gathering of Shadows, next to it, because it's the same author, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is one I've always wanted to read, so I grabbed this one and brought it home. I could probably renew it a couple times because I don't know when I'll actually get to it, but I would like to get to it. So maybe it will happen in October. I don't know. And I also mentioned the other day that maybe I would try to start this huge honkin' thing. House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski? Danielewski? I don't know. Because it would be a good spooky October experience. I don't know if it's going to creep me out. If I start reading it and it's like not just spooky and suspenseful, but if it's like yucky, then I don't know if I'll keep going. So, but I would like to give it a chance, and maybe I'll try for October. Oh, I mentioned this one already, so we'll see if I fit that in too. And I've mentioned this one several times because I started it during the summer, and I don't know if I will give it priority to keep going, but it's always there waiting. And then for book club, we'll be reading Passengers by John Mars, and that one is on hold through Libby and will maybe come available soon so that I can get to it before book club, which is in a couple of weeks. And be prepared for that. And that's supposed to be a pretty cool, suspenseful book also, which is why we chose to do it for October. That's a lot. Those are a lot of big books and a lot of heavy books. And you know that I like to put some light and fluffy in between my heavy. So maybe I'll still try to do that because I might get a little bogged down by all this heavy. So I don't know. We'll see what else jumps in. And that's it. That's the October. And I have a couple other fun things coming up in October. Oh, I'm going to be going on a quick trip to Las Vegas to see Conan Gray in concert, if you know who that is. And I will listen to an audiobook on that drive. I don't know if I will finish it. And that one is Making It So by Patrick Stewart. We'll see if that one happens. And then we've got a couple of author events. Going to see Imagine Dragons, who's actually coming here. So anyway, October should be fun. Should be a good one. I hope you're looking forward to your October too. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.